Okay, y'all, it's time for some more kitty cat. Time for a little bit more kitty cat. Of course, immediately of course, you immediately shift position, don't you? You immediately shift position and make things hard for me. I saw the movie Scary Movie, the the one, the movie from 2000, the year 2000. Screw. Kitty cat's not sitting still, so y'all are just gonna have to look at the fan instead. I saw the movie Scary Movie from the year 2000, and I think this was brought to mind for me because the Wayans the Wayans boys, the ones who were involved in the making of Scary Movie, talked about how they were going to bring back the franchise and how it was going to just destroy woke forever. That was there's some quote about that. You can look it up. And so I heard that, and I mean, I liked the sound of it, and then I had the opportunity just to watch the original Scary Movie, which I haven't seen since it came out. I never felt much of a desire to see it since it came out. And yeah, now I am not a fan of gross out humor. So that's the one thing that I don't quite. The one aspect of the humor that I don't really gravitate towards, but the the absurdist humor, the politically incorrect stuff, the stuff references to race in a politically incorrect way, or gender, racial jokes, gay jokes, jokes about girls being bimbos and stuff like that. It's so unbelievably refreshing to see that, to see those things unabashedly in a movie. And it's such a trip. I mean, not to sound, not to sound boring or cavalier or anything like that, but it really is almost like it is almost like a drug trip, uh, to to just be plugged into that moment again and to remember the jokes that were topical at the time. Um, the references that were topical at that time. And I wasn't a youth, so I was a little above the age of the demographic the movie was made for. I was 29 in the year 2000. But just like seeing things like references to the "Was Up" commercials. Most of you probably don't know what the hell I'm talking about. That's I guess part of my point. Like to like it's sort of a boring thing to say, I know, but it is wild to just realize, to watch something 20 that's topical, that makes references to topical things. A lot of the humor is topical, you know. It's references to movies that were out at around at that same time. And just to think that today people would watch it and not get it, not understand, probably not understand the references, unless they had a familiarity with the other movies of this period, including, you know, kind of shitty youth oriented movies, which, I mean, there were a lot of youth oriented movies at around that time that were utter trash. I'm not defending the time period. I'm not defending the late 90s, early 2000s from the point of view of quality. Um, but you, but I felt the same way that I did when I saw Reservoir Dogs. And by the way, those of you, just an aside here, those of you who are tired of me talking about movies, well, look, would you rather hear me talk about the Epstein files? Would you rather hear me talk about Iran? Would you rather me talk about politics? Uh, what dreary contemporary subject do I have anything to add about? Uh, I mean, I've said my piece about all those things. Yes, we're ruled by satanic pedophiles. Everybody knows that. No, everybody knows that by now, and there it is. And I've remarked that already, and it is pretty remarkable how much that's all getting out right now. But life goes on. You know, uh, life goes on, uh, and I've known I've known who's been ruling us and the kind of things they get up to. I've been aware of that for a while. Uh, so so I'm not really discombobulated right now. I'm not discombobulated by any of that. There are other things about 2026 that are pretty disorienting. That anyone cares about the fucking Oscars, for example. The Oscars are tomorrow night. Whoop-de-doo. Boy, I wonder who's going to win. I wonder who they're going to choose for Best Actor. Who's going to be the best supporting actor? Oh, I sure hope they acknowledge that Sinners was a wonderful, wonderful movie. You know, I hope that wins Best Picture because it really deserves it. No, I don't care to talk about any of that shit. I'm into movies and I like the form of film, but the politics of it, the business of it, I mean that why if you're aware by now that how the Hollywood producers are fucking kids and eating babies, well then why are you gonna tune in? Uh, what does it matter what any of them say is the best picture or the best actor or the best actress? And now we can have men be actresses too because we're so progressive here in Hollywood. I don't know I don't know if there's any trans people in the trans actresses that have been nominated this year. It seems like that's happened before, but whatever. You know what I'm saying. I mean, if you don't like, I know, I know this is a lengthy sort of aside here, but if you don't like me talking about a movie that came out 26 years ago, then I mean, what do you want to hear? What did you come here to want to hear me talk about? And if you are here, why are you still here? You know, um, but I'm just explaining. I'm just explaining the reason why this seeing this movie had this kind of effect on me. Like, and I really hope that when they come out with a new scary movie, that it really is what they're promising it to be. I hope that they have all the same kinds of jokes. Um, it's gonna be. I have a hard time fathoming it, but but maybe And I made a reference like this before. I talked about seeing Reservoir Dogs, and an early scene of Reservoir Dogs is the the character that's played by Quentin Tarantino, who talks about his what he thinks Like a Virgin by Madonna is really all about. And I'm not going to go into detail about it, but just to say there was something just it's so liberating to the ears to hear characters in movies considering concepts and ideas. And, uh, it's not just about hearing them say fag, okay, or retard. It's not just that. It's hearing them entertain ideas that you're not allowed to entertain in movies today. Um, but that's um, when I rewatch that scene with Tarantino and his character talking about what Like a Virgin is really all about. Um, you know, it gave me that feeling. It's that feeling of liberated ears, liberated consciousness. Um, we're able to say things that he was able to say what he said there. And what was that? That was in 91, I think. And then 9 years later, um, Scary Movie, they're allowed to make the kind of jokes that they made in that movie. And, you know, nobody gave a shit, really. Nobody cared. Um, I mean, I guess there were probably some people who were offended, but and it's not like political correctness wasn't around at that time, but it wasn't so pervasive. Um, so, anyway, meanwhile, back at the cat. um, yeah, and they're if I may switch gears here for a second. This is already kind of a stream of consciousness video, so those of you who don't like that are probably already tuned out. Those of you who are actually my fans or my friends or whatever, um, or really along for the ride, you're still here. I've got to say, without getting into detail, that it's not easy. It's not easy to to not be bitter about certain things when you're aware of getting older. When you're aware of getting older and just like that the doors have not been opened to you, and that you've you're you've done a lot of things and failed. You've tried to reach a wide spread audience, a large audience, and you basically just have a very niche following, which is a nice way of saying a small following, which is a nice way of saying you're basically unknown. Um, and you see other people uh, who you wonder what they've done. What have other people who don't seem to have as much reason to be able to have the juice that they have, to be as connected as they are. You see people like that succeeding in your stead. All right, back to the fan again. Um, it's easy to just devolve into the crotchety, grumpy old man shaking his fist at the world. Um, and you don't want to be that. You don't want to come across that way because uh, that's not it's not helpful. It's just not helpful. But it's hard not to be frustrated. Uh, you know, I'm at an advanced age now, and I know it's annoying to hear somebody. I apologize. I really do. I apologize. It's self indulgent for me to talk about this stuff. Um, and I'm trying to keep it in perspective, and I'm trying to not, you know, uh, I'm trying to not just crash out here. I'm trying to see it with some humor. I mean, my sense of humor is like when you have a self-deprecating sense of humor. Part of the purpose of that is to take the sting out of uh, the sensation of having been shafted, of having been having not been given the kind of opportunity that you think you ought to have been given. Um, yeah. So, and I'm not soliciting anything, so please don't offer me any advice. Please don't. Please don't offer me advice below. Okay? Don't do that. Or your comment will be gone. I'll zap it. I'll zap it into oblivion. So if you want to work hard on a comment just to see it gone, if you want to put your effort into lecturing me, uh, and expect for your comment to still be up, then you got another think coming. Um, all these things tie together, though. I mean, um, old movies, um, the way the culture has both degenerated and grown more censorious. Isn't that isn't that just a like that's it's a bitch. It's like you'd think that it would be one or the other. You'd think that you could say, "Boy, things have gotten really more censorious," and then you could comfort yourself by saying, "Yeah, but at least morals are better than they used to be. At least we've improved in morals, even if this new censoriousness is pretty annoying." Or the other way around, you could say, uh, "Boy, morals and values of people are just, have just gone to crap." Uh, and it's even worse. I thought it was bad in 2000 when I saw Scary Movie at the age of 29 with my then wife and my and another couple, in at North Decatur Mall in Atlanta, Georgia. But you know, but if things have gotten worse, uh, but at least there's not censor. At least there aren't these hall monitor types lecturing us, wagging their fingers at us, telling us what we can and can't say, what we can and can't think, what's proper and what's improper to etiquette when it comes to addressing certain sensitive subjects like race, sex, sexual orientation, etc. You'd think it would be one way or the other, and you'd think that one would be morals would be out the window, but there would be no censoriousness, or censoriousness would be on the rise, but morals and values would at least be better. You know. Um, Again, I brought this up. It was in a short video that I recorded the other day, which called a wistful moment, um, where you know what uh, I had like to be able to live in a time uh, where you're not surrounded by really shitty propaganda. By shitty propaganda, I mean propaganda that is is designed to create a shitty society. That's what I thought while I was walking through Barnes and Ignoble today. Um, and boy, yeah, you're right. This video is all over the place, but so be it. So be it. Um, yeah, just strolling through Barnes and Noble the other day. Just thinking most of these books are shit. I pick them up, and they're probably written by people uh, who are either child rapists and baby eaters, or who are down with child rapists and baby eaters, but who are preaching things to us through either through the fiction or the nonfiction that's put out today. Um, you know, I wouldn't mind walking through a bunch of propaganda if the propaganda was actually wholesome propaganda. I really wouldn't. I'd be okay with that. Even if it's trite, even if it's goofy. I remember when the thing we heard the most wasn't uh, wasn't anything about putting on how you should the proper way to put on a condom, or uh, the exaltedness of various sexual orientations besides the hetero normal one. Um, uh, were were just things, totally anodyne things. Were just things like don't drive drunk. you know, don't, if you've had a few too many drinks, stay off the road. Um, or contribute to Easter seals. You know, these were the things that corporations were. This was corporate virtue signaling at the time. Um, Charities for sick kids. I'm okay with that. If a corporation wants to, it doesn't really give a damn about sick kids, but wants to virtue signal uh, that they really care about sick kids, so they have uh, donate 30 cents of your McDonald's purchase to help sick kids. That's cool with me. Or for 30 cents for families of victims of drunk driving, family members, people who have lost family members to drunk drivers. That's complete. That's wholesome virtue signaling. I'm fine with that. That's not what we have today. That's not what corporate virtue signaling is anymore. So, yeah. Boy, how did I get to that from where I started? I guess I'll conclude by saying that in the year 2000, the year that Scary Movie came out, I mean, I'm not naive. Please don't be naive. most most people listening or watching this are probably younger than me and don't remember that time as well as I do. It was not like that was a great time, uh, culturally, morally, ethically, or otherwise. Things hadn't slid into the sewer quite as badly as they have by now. On the other hand, now you have much more of a concerted backlash against all of that nonsense. Back then there was no. I mean, back then, uh, if you react, you were sort of ostracizing yourself if you reacted to trashy uh, crap and bad propaganda in the culture. You didn't really have an audience. Today you have an audience. Um, you know, I never thought I'd see a day, for example, when young men uh, hated pornography. I mean, hated it, uh, viscerally hated it, and wanted to stamp it out, wanted to murder it. I never would have thought I'd see that day, but that's where we are. So, what's my point? You know, well, my latest point, the point I'm going to end on here, in this incredibly rambling uh, pseudo monologue, the point I'm going to end on here is that things are worse, but things are also better. So, um, and the other thing I would say is, when people say you can't get away with this, you can't get away with that now. You can't say things like that now. Bullshit. You can say and think and express ideas and beliefs that whatever suits you. And, it's up to you what you want to say, what you don't want to say, when the time is propitious to say things that need to be said, and when the time, to everything there is a season. There's a time to speak and a time to be silent. It's up to you. You got to gauge that for yourself, but don't think that way. If we can't get away with that anymore, you can get away with, unless you're actually hurting people. I'm not saying you should you should be able to physically harm others, except in self-defense, and if they're pedophiles. but but uh, but you can, as far as saying what you want, having the sense of humor that you want to have, laughing at the jokes that you want to laugh at, um, you should you can do that now just as much as you ever could. All right. Thanks for those of you who stuck with us through to the end. You're you guys are menches. You're mention. You're uber mention. Isn't it interesting how mensch? You know, mensch is a Yiddish word that calls to mind Jews, but ubermensch is uh, is a word that calls to mind Nazis. Isn't that interesting? I know it's because German and Yiddish have intersect in various ways, but the thing in within Jewish culture where you say he's a real mensch, that guy was a mensch. Anyhow, boy. All right. I'm just going to end it there. 30 minutes. 30 minutes of full powered me.